Good evening. This 14th regular meeting of the 74th term of the Baltimore City Council is now called to order. Councilmember Blanchard will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Blanchard. The clerk will now call the roll of the members.
Parker. McCray. Dorsey. Conway. Schleifer. Middleton. Torrance. Gray. Bullock. Porter. Blanchard. Jones. Glover. Ramos. Cohen. Mr. President, we have a quorum with council members Schleifer and Torrance being absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now proceed with the adoption of the journals.
Mr. President, the journals for the August 18th meeting proceedings are in members' inboxes.
Without objection, the journals will be adopted. Hearing none, the journals are adopted. Bills signed by the mayor can be found on the meeting agenda. Now we move to executive nominations. Madam Clerk.
EA 25-0039, Catalina Rodriguez Lima, Director, Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0040, Aubrey Levi, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0041, Katie Debevec, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0042, Darcy Adams, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0043, Isaiah Lawrence, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0044, Jane Miller, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0045, Justin Gorge, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0046, Kayla Morgan, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0047, Lauren Laporta, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0048, Matthew Fort, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0049, Matthew Mentor, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0050, Melissa Devereaux, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0051, Renee Lau, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0052, Tian Harrison, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0053, Tika Torres, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0054, Todd Troster, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations.
EA 25-0055, Tristan Stoll, Member, Baltimore City LGBTQ Commission.
This nomination has been assigned to the Committee on Legislative Investigations. Now we move on to bills being introduced. Madam Clerk.
City Council Bill 25-0095, Commercial Motor Vehicle Repair on City Streets, Prohibition, for the purpose of prohibiting the practice of commercial non-emergency motor vehicle repairs on city streets or footways, establishing certain penalties and defining certain terms. Lead sponsor, Parker. Co-sponsors, Dorsey, Conway, Middleton, Torrance, Gray, Bullock, Porter, Blanchard, Jones, Glover, Ramos.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is intended to prohibit the activities of commercial, mobile, auto repair services in city streets and on sidewalks. Along with the Greektown Neighborhood Association and other community members from around the district and city agencies like the Department of Transportation and the Police Department, our office has been working to address concerns brought to me by constituents in the district about disruptions caused by mobile, informal auto repair operations set up in the public right-of-way, specifically in parking areas. These motor vehicle services have been expanding their commercial footprint and performing services in city streets and footways, often resulting in transit and traffic disruptions and dangerous conditions. Neighbors in Greektown have expressed concerns about other hazards presented by the oil slicks left in the right-of-way, both in terms of physical and environmental hazards. In conversation with DOT, we learned that these unlicensed, unpermitted mobile operations, repair operations, were popping up across the city, and additional clarity was welcomed in the code in terms of being able to do some enforcement. Warnings from the police about the effect of moving the operators out of one set of parking spaces into another set and just kind of bouncing around the city. BPD enforcement is currently limited due to vagueness in the code regarding these informal commercial repair activities. The bill defines mobile vehicle auto repair services and prohibits activities performed by these repair services in public streets and footways, with the exception of emergency repairs, such as a AAA or some other emergency repair service. And additionally creates a system of penalties and fines for offenses to better limit these practices. It does not prevent individual community members from working on their own vehicles outside their homes, nor would it prevent emergency repairs by legitimate providers, as I mentioned, to work on a car stalled or otherwise disabled on the side of the road. Rather, this bill outlaws what we already know is dangerous and improper, preventing our public streets from being used for commercial auto repair, an activity which is dangerous for those involved in the work and for the broader community. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Parker. This bill has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 25-0096, Parking for Disabled Individuals and Helpers, modifications for the purpose of removing certain permit renewal requirements for an individual with a disability, allowing a certain individual to submit notice to the Department of Transportation that a reserved parking permit is no longer needed, removing certain obsolete language and generally relating to parking for disabled persons and helpers. Lead sponsor, Gray. Co-sponsors, Parker, Dorsey, Conway, Middleton, Torrance, Bullock, Porter, Blanchard, Ramos.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, Council President. This bill is rooted in the simple belief that our city has a responsibility to remove barriers that make everyday life harder for people with disabilities. Parking access is not a privilege. It is about equity, it is about independence, and it's about dignity. For far too long, disabled residents have faced unnecessary hurdles just to keep a reserved parking space. Annual renewals, repeated doctor notes, and neighborhood approval requirements create stress without protecting the community. They punish the very people who need access the most. My office met with disability rights attorneys, advocates, and residents, and it was clear, the current system isn't working. That's why, after working with MOGR and the Parking Authority, we're putting forward these changes. 1, neighborhood approval requirements are eliminated. No one should be forced to disclose their disability to neighbors just to access basic accommodations or have to depend on relationships that they have with a neighbor just to get a sign off on such accommodations. 2nd, the annual doctor certifications are replaced with a simple form every 5 years after the initial physician approval. And thirdly, a biannual notice from the Parking Authority will keep contact information current and ensure permits are updated when someone moves or passes away. These changes simplify the process while keeping safeguards in place. The city still has the authority to revoke permits if misused, but we're shifting the accountability to the system, not the individual. That's what equity looks like. This is more than a technical update. It is an equity reform that reduces red tape, protects privacy, and ensures disabled residents aren't penalized for needing accommodations. I invite our advocates and community partners to keep working with us to make Baltimore a city that leads with equity, not in just words, but in practice. Thank you to my colleagues, and I urge you all for your support.
Thank you, Councilman Gray. This bill has been assigned to the Public Health and Environment Committee.
City Council Bill 25-0097, zoning, healthcare clinics, permitted and conditional use amendment. For the purpose of removing healthcare clinics as a permitted or conditional use in certain zoning districts and providing for a special effective date. Lead sponsor, Porter. Co-sponsors, Torrance, Gray, Bullock, James, Glover, Ramos.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Porter.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Colleagues, today I introduce an ordinance that addresses a long-standing imbalance of how healthcare clinics are distributed throughout Baltimore City. This ordinance proposes to amend Article 32 of the Baltimore City Zoning Code by removing healthcare clinics as a permitted or conditional use in commercial zoning districts C1 and C2. In short, this measure would alter our land use framework by restricting where private and nonprofit healthcare clinics may be located in Baltimore City. The intent is clear. We need to align our zoning practices with community planning goals and to reevaluate how these clinics are concentrated across our neighborhoods. In the first 6 months of FY25, Maryland had 126 substance abuse provider sites serving more than 6,000 individuals statewide. Baltimore City and Baltimore County accounted for more than over 60% of all service use statewide. And within this, our intensive outpatient provider sites are heavily clustered in northwestern, central, and southern neighborhoods, making up nearly 47% of the city's 159 provider locations. This oversaturation is not balanced across communities, and some corridors are overburdened, while others have little access at all. This ordinance is not about denying care. It is about ensuring that care is delivered with equity, intentionality, and quality. And true recovery does require that it's more than just access to a clinic. It takes housing, workforce opportunities, wraparound support, and environment where both patients and the neighbors can thrive. This bill addresses legitimate community planning concerns about oversaturation in neighborhood commercial zones, but it also highlights the need for a more coordinated regulatory framework, one that balances access with accountability, ensuring that providers deliver meaningful outcomes, and restoring the public confidence in our behavioral health system. At the end of the day, this is about balance, healthy people and healthy neighborhoods. By amending Article 32, we are not just redrawing the zoning lines, we are reimagining how recovery and community planning can work hand in hand. And because Baltimore cannot build recovery on the backs of a few neighborhoods, we must build it all across the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Porter. This bill has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee.
City Council Bill 25-0098, zoning, conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to 2 dwelling units in the R8 zoning district, 227 South Washington Street. For the purpose of permitting, subject to certain conditions, the conversion of a single-family dwelling unit into 2 dwelling units on the property known as 227 South Washington Street, Block 1756, Lot 077, as outlined and read on the accompanying plat, and providing for a special effective date. Lead sponsor, Glover.
This bill has been assigned to the This bill has been assigned to the Land Use and Transportation Committee. We will now move to resolutions of the City Council.
City Council Resolution 25-0033R, informational hearing, condition of older adult residential housing in Baltimore City. For the purpose of inviting the Department of Housing and Community Development, the Housing Authority of Baltimore City, and the Mayor's Office of Older Adult Affairs and Advocacy to report on and discuss recommendations for improving the conditions of housing for older adults in the city. Lead sponsor, Ramos. Co-sponsors, Parker, Conway, Middleton, Torrance, Gray, Bullock, Porter, Blanchard, Jones, Glover, Cohen.
Councilmember Ramos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, colleagues. It is very important that our older adults have the opportunity to age in place with dignity, either in their home they have invested in or an apartment providing affordable living options. However, throughout Baltimore City, communities of older adults have been experiencing hazardous living conditions in older adult living facilities, impacting the quality of life during what should be their golden years. Complaints have come to my office and several of our colleagues' offices from across the city. For instance, many older adults live in high-rise buildings that are older, sometimes resulting in elevator failures that can take months to repair. The lack of access to working elevators impacts older adults' ability to move safely between floors, to travel and utilize public transportation to access vital resources within their community, and to participate in social and civic activities. In fact, when elevators do not work, some older adults who are confined to wheelchairs end up sleeping in the lobbies, which is completely unacceptable. Another example is that many senior buildings do not have adequate security, which makes them vulnerable to violence and theft. The failure to maintain safe, accessible facilities and provide adequate security creates a dangerous environment that affects all aspects of older residents' lives. This resolution being introduced today seeks a hearing to lift up the voices of our older adult residents and to find solutions to address these issues. Older adults deserve to live out their golden years with comfort and dignity. This hearing will focus on older adult rental facilities owned by HABC, the RAD program, DHCD, and other affordable living providers. And it is the second in the series of work that we're doing in the Education, Youth, and Older Adult Committee on making sure that our older adults can age in place with dignity. We seek to answer the following questions and other questions that the committee might have. The number and location of older adult designated buildings, income requirements, management and which program they fall under, whether at the time of the hearing the elevators are working in each building, number of 311 complaints levied for each building in the last year, and the possible resolution, DHCD inspections of each property, and what policy or financial changes need to be made to accommodate our growing older adult population to ensure they live with dignity and care. We want to partner in ensuring that resources and policy are there to assist our residents. If these are resources and policy issues, we need to know so that we can advocate effectively. And I look forward to the hearing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Ramos. I remember when VP Middleton and I were going around to create the Office of Aging and just hearing horror stories about some of our adult housing facilities. You mentioned elevators being out for 6 months or longer. We saw some without working HVAC so that it was hot 90 degrees plus in the common room or freezing cold in the winter. We know we need to do better by our older adults. I am grateful to the leadership of Director Harmon in that office, and I appreciate this hearing as an opportunity for us as a council to reflect and work together on this critically important issue. This resolution has been assigned to the Education, Youth, and Older Adult Committee. The consent calendar was sent to members' inboxes in the desk documents folder. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? All those in favor of approving the consent calendar say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion carries and the consent calendar is approved. We now move on to bills and executive appointments on second reader. Chair recognizes Councilman Dorsey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we read short titles for the remainder of the meeting.
Without objection, we will proceed with reading short titles. We begin with executive appointments. Madam Clerk.
EA 25-0033, Dr. Michelle A. Taylor, Commissioner of Health.
Before recognizing Councilman Schleifer, I want to speak for a moment about how excited I am about this nominee. The city of Baltimore has an incredible wealth of public health, hospitals, health facilities. This is a public health town. And we have had phenomenal health commissioners throughout our city's history. Dr. Michelle Taylor joins us with a world of experience in Memphis, in other places where the political climate around public health has not been hospitable to the work that she has always sought to do. But she has come here, hit the ground running, has excellent ideas about creating a division of behavioral health, about improving our crisis response system, about really leaning into the work around opioids. I'm just excited for this nominee. I think that when we get talent in this city, we gotta lift it up and honor it and acknowledge folks that wanna come here and work hard. With that, Chair recognizes Councilmember Schleifer.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Legislative Investigations Committee held a series of these hearings on Thursday, September 11th, and I move the nomination favorable.
Before we vote, is there any discussion or debate on this nomination? All those in favor of confirming this nominee, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. This nomination is confirmed.
EA 25-0034, Stephen W. Fogelman, Member, Board of Ethics.
Chair recognizes Councilman Schleifer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move this nomination favorable.
All those in favor, is there any debate or discussion on the nomination of Stephen Fogelman to the Ethics Board? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of approving this nomination, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. This nomination is approved. Chair recognizes Councilman Schleifer.
I move the nomination favorable.
Hang on 1 second. All those in favor of approving this nomination, please say aye.
Don't worry about that yet.
Fogelman. But then he wanted to
Yeah.
ask if anybody has anything to say.
Say is confirmed.
Stephen Fogelman is confirmed.
He gets 2 terms.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah. You like me? EA 25-0036, Kendall Abu Hakim, Bureau Head, Department of Public Works, Division of Solid Waste.
Chair recognizes Councilman Schleifer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move this nomination favorable.
Before we vote, is there any discussion or debate on this nomination? All those in favor of confirming this nominee say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. This nomination is confirmed.
EA 25-0037, Stephen Sharkey, Bureau Head, Department of Public Works, Division of Water and Wastewater.
Chair recognizes Councilman Schleifer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move this nomination favorable.
Before we vote, is there any discussion or debate on this nomination? All those in favor of confirming this nominee say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. This nomination is confirmed.
EA 25-0038, Matthew Garbark, Director, Department of Public Works.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Schleifer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move this nomination favorable.
Before we vote, I will open the floor to debate and discussion. I will just say I am truly grateful for Mr. Garbark's dedication and service to our city. As colleagues know, he has served in many, many roles throughout city government. He is a hard worker. He is someone who cares deeply about this agency. We know that DPW has had deep structural challenges with safety, as Councilman Glover has pointed out, challenges with wages, as Councilman Schleifer, Glover, and many folks have pointed out. This is an agency that has challenges in both its wastewater and solid waste division. So it is a big task for the new director to take on. Khalil Zaid did an excellent job, and I know that Mr. Garbark will continue in that legacy. We as a council will continue to hold the Department of Public Works accountable to produce great outcomes for our residents and to do right by their workers. With that, anyone else? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of confirming this nominee say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. This nomination is confirmed. Congratulations to all the nominees on their confirmation. We now move to bills on second reader from the Housing and Economic Development Committee. Madam Clerk.
City Council Bill 25-0050, Water Bill, Tenant Right to Review.
Chair recognizes Chair Torrance.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Housing and Economic Development met for City Council Bill 25050, Water Bill Tenant Right to Review. The sponsor was Councilman Gray. This bill was heard on September 9th, 2025. It was recommended as favorable for amendment. There is committee amendments on the colleague's desk. The amendments are as follows. Number 1, mandates that DPW produces a report for the council annually. That was removed. The second one was allows for residents to submit the bills for electronically and allows CPW to provide the bills electronically as well. Are there any questions on amendments? Perfect. Mr. President, I move the amendment favorably.
Before we vote, is there any debate or discussion on the committee amendments? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of adopting the amendment say aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion passes and the amendments are adopted. Chair recognizes Council Member
I gotta defer to
Gray.
Councilman Gray.
Gray.
Yeah.
Yes.
I defer to Councilman Gray, Mr. President.
Mr. President, there's a floor amendment on my colleague's desk. The amendment is technical and removes duplicative language from the bill. Mr. President, I move the amendment as favorable.
Before we vote, is there any debate or discussion on the floor amendment? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of adopting the floor amendment say aye. Try that again. All those in favor of adopting the amendment say aye. Aye. Thank you. All those opposed say nay. Councilmember Schleifer, is there any unreadiness?
Yeah, can we just get a little bit, more explanation other than that's technical? I mean, it's 6 lines of a bill, I assume getting rid of 6 lines should have some impact.
Councilmember Gray,
Yep.
if you could stand.
Yep, sorry. Let me go ahead and grab that. It's just the water bill is the customer request. So they request a copy of the wastewater bill issued on a period of time that they're responsible for paying. It removes documentation that the customer owns and occupies the property as the principal. It's already in the bill, so it's just something they had to take out as technical in nature. Duplicative is the word they want me to use.
Any further discussion or debate? Seeing, hearing none. All those in favor of adopting the amendment say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion passes and the floor amendment is adopted. Chair recognizes Chair Torrance.
Mr. President, I move the bill favorably as amended.
Is there any debate or discussion on this bill? All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. This bill will be printed for third reading.
City Council Bill 25-0059, Building, Fire, and Related Codes, Vacant Building Receivers, Failure to Sell.
Chair recognizes Chair Torrance.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Council Bill 25059, Building, Fire, and Related Codes, Vacant Building Receivers, Failure to Sell. This bill was heard on September 9th. It was recommended as favorable. I recommend the bill favorable as well.
Thank you, Chairman Torrance. Is there any debate or discussion on this bill? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. This bill will be printed for third reading. We now move on to bills from the Land Use and Transportation Committee on second reader. Madam Clerk.
City Council Bill 25-0069, Sale of Property, 1820 North Charles Street.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dorsey.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill was heard on August 28th. It was recommended as favorable. This time I move the bill as favorable.
Is there any debate or discussion on this bill? All those in favor of approving this bill say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. This bill will be printed for third reading.
City Council Bill 25-0070, Sale of Property, 242 South Patterson Park Avenue.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dorsey. Thank you, Mr. President. This bill was also heard on August 28th. It was recommended favorable with an amendment. The amendment is before the council members. At this time, I move the amendment from the Comptroller's Office, which just strikes the number 242 and substitutes it with 238 to correct the address to reflect the legally known identifier for the property. It was probably multiple properties at one point and consolidated, and probably some record somewhere has one number and we want the other one. So I move the amendment from the Comptroller's Office.
Noted. Before we vote, any debate or discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of adopting the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion passes and the amendments are adopted.
Great, Mr. President, I move this bill favorable as amended.
Is there any debate or discussion on this bill? All those in favor of approving this bill, say, okay. Roll call.
Point of order, Mr. President.
Not there.
Councilman Dorsey.
My intention here is to move this bill here on second reader, then make a separate motion to move it to third reader for a vote on the same day, and then we'll vote it on third reader when we get there.
Yeah, Mr. Parliamentarian, I do believe we're just gonna vote, and then when it's on third reader, do the roll call. Right?
Yes, we just amended the bill.
I will do that after the second reader
Separate.
vote.
Yeah, that'll be after second.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
All right. Before we vote, is there any debate or discussion on the committee amendments?
We already did that part.
We did that already. I'm sorry, you were just moving this bill. Is there any debate or discussion on this bill? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. This bill will be printed for third reading.
Mr. President, I now move that we suspend the rules to allow this bill to be moved to third reader for a final vote today.
Now we do roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Parker? Aye. McCray? Dorsey?
Yes.
Conway? Schleifer? Middleton? Torrance? Gray? Bullock? Porter? Blanchard? Jones? Glover? Ramos? Cohen?
Aye. This bill moves to third reader today.
City Council Bill 25-0074, repeal of Ordinance 06222, Planned Unit Development, 1100 Wycomico Street.
Chair recognizes Chair Dorsey.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill was heard on August 28th. It was recommended as favorable. The council has finding of facts that were also recommended to be adopted by the committee. I move the finding of facts.
All those in favor of adopting the finding of facts, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The finding of facts are adopted.
I move the bill favorable, Mr. President.
Is there any debate or discussion on this bill? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of approving this bill say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. This bill will be printed for third reading. We now move to the bill on third reader. Madam Clerk, please read the bill and call the roll.
City Council Bill 25-0070, sale of property 238 South Patterson Park Avenue. Parker, McCray, Dorsey, Conway, Schleifer, Middleton, Torrance, Gray, Bullock, Porter, Blanchard, Jones, Glover, Ramos, Cohen.
This bill is approved. And now committee announcements. Chairs, when you hear your committee, please proceed with your committee announcements. Budget and Appropriations, Chair McCray. Education, Youth, and Older Adults, Chair Bullock. Housing and Economic Development, Chair Torrance. Labor and Workforce, Chair Jones. Yes. Announce away.
Yes, first I just want to make an announcement regarding from the Labor and Workforce Committee, Bill 25-0051. We'll be holding a hearing on October 22nd at 5:30 p.m. on labor and employment and pregnancy accommodations for the purpose of requiring reasonable accommodations in the workplace for certain employees upon request, protecting employees from adverse actions relating to pregnancy, recovering from childbirth or related condition, forbidding denial of employees opportunities based upon certain circumstances, and establishing penalties for violations of required accommodations, defining certain terms, and generally relating to protecting the rights of employees who are pregnant and receiving or pregnant or recovering from childbirth or related condition. So, and I have one other announcement. This next announcement is a date change. It's for bill number LO 25-0053. This is for bill titled Baltimore City Works. The original hearing was scheduled for October 1st, 2025, and is being rescheduled for October 22nd, 2025 at 5 p.m. for the purpose of inviting labor leaders of those who work in Baltimore City to discuss the status of work, labor, and the unions, to identify top priorities and common themes, and to formally launch the City Council's labor agenda. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. Land Use and Transportation, Chairman Dorsey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Got kind of a lot here, mostly reminders. First, I will say the Land Use and Transportation Committee held hearings on 2 bills last Thursday on the repeal of parking minimums and changes to bulk and yard standards. We were here with those bills for almost 4 hours. They were good, robust hearings. You may have seen a banner article about it. We did not vote those bills. We have 2 other bills being heard. These have all been previously announced this coming Thursday. Council Bills 25-0040, zoning uses, retail, small box establishment, and 25-0062, building code, single exit from residential occupancy. At that hearing this Thursday, we will also take up a voting session for those bills, as well as the ones that we heard earlier this week, 25-0064, zoning bulk and yard requirements amendments, and 25-0065, zoning eliminating off-street parking requirements. The following, so that's for this Thursday, 9/18 at 10 a.m. I will also note, Councilman Parker emailed me earlier and asked about starting hearings earlier. We do have the slot from 9 to noon, but have been generally holding hearings starting at 10 o'clock. I do want to say I'm cognizant of our council members' time, and am going to do my best to start earlier at 9 a.m. I would have moved some of these hearings up, but they also have a 15-day advertising requirement in order to be able to hold the hearings. So by the time we considered the possibility of starting them earlier, they had already been advertised and we were already within that 15-day window. Going forth, I will, wherever I think that we're going to have a longer session, we'll try to think about that in advance and begin the hearings at 9 a.m. But for this hearing this Thursday, we will start at 10 o'clock, and similarly next Thursday, we will also start at 10 o'clock. We have 10 bills on that agenda. 25-0082, 83, 84, 85, 86, 72, 77, 90, 91, and 92. We will also revisit 2 bills, 25-0078 and 79, which we have already heard and not voted. We will bring them up for a vote next Thursday, along with those other 10 bills, which we will vote the same day. I think that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Dorsey. Legislative Investigations, Chair Schleifer. No announcements. Public Health and the Environment, Chair Porter.
President, the Public Health and Environment Committee will hold a hearing on Wednesday, October 29th, beginning at 10 a.m. for Council Bill 25-0014, Emergency Medical Services Administrations of Buprenorphine, for the purpose of requiring Baltimore City Emergency Medical Services to provide buprenorphine to all emergency medical service technicians, allowing emergency medical service technicians to administer buprenorphine to an individual under certain circumstances, and defining certain terms. This hearing is at the request of Councilmember Mark Conway, and this hearing will be held in council chambers and is open to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety, Chair Conway. No announcements. We now move to regular announcements. Members, please wait to be recognized to make any regular announcements. I will go first and recognize Councilmember Tony Glover's dad, who is here with us. Happy birthday, sir. believe you're turning 38, is that right? I believe you're turning 38, is that correct? Appreciate you joining us. Thank you. Other regular announcements. Councilmember Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, colleagues. First, a moment of silent request for Francisco Legalupi. He was a member of the Baltimore City Central Committee representing District 43, also a very active member of the Baltimore Italian Center, and it's a great loss to lose him to Baltimore. So our condolences are with his family. I also want to take a moment to celebrate and honor the fact that today is the first day of Hispanic Heritage Month. Yes, Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated starting the September 15th to October 15th, and it is a month-long celebration of the diverse history and culture of our Latina and Hispanic communities. The reason for the calendar, instead of starting on the 1st, start on the 15th, is to capture the anniversaries of the independence celebrations for several of our Latin American countries, including Mexico and Colombia. It started out as a week-long celebration under President Johnson and grew to an entire month in 1988. I'm excited that our schools get to learn take this time to learn about fantastic Latin American, Latino, and Hispanic residents and activists like Dolores Huerta, who is a farm worker advocate and has made a lot of strides for our workers. And this is a time where I honor my great-grandmother, Ricarda Lopez Ramos, who was one of the leaders to ensure women had the right to vote in Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, thank you. Yeah, thank you. It is also a time to make sure that we're, celebrating our rich culture and history. However, unfortunately, this year it has a much more important significance. Unfortunately, several of our usual celebrations of our growing Latino population here in Baltimore City are not taking place this year. There is a fear that ICE will disrupt them, violently taking neighbors away from families and their work just because they are Latino and they are immigrants. There are still some celebrations taking place, but very limited capacity. And I will let council members know when and where they are so that you can show support for our community. In addition, we have several ways that residents can volunteer to support our community on our website. Our communities need allies to stand up as we work to raise our own voices to protect ourselves from this hatred that is invading our nation. Despite all of this, Baltimore remains one of the cities working to defend our democracy and what makes it great. Our city doubles down on our diversity that includes making sure our immigrant and Latina communities are safe and part of our culture. Each year, we honor Latina and Hispanic residents who are making a difference in our communities with our Hispanic Heritage Awards. Applications are due September 22nd, and the application and information is on the MEMA website. This year is especially important to honor those who are working to improve our communities despite the odds. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me a little bit of time to talk about Hispanic Heritage Month, and I look forward to celebrating with everyone, even if it's in a limited capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Ramos. We appreciate it. Anyone else for regular announcements? I'll also ask for a moment of silence for Dr. Earl Richardson, former president of Morgan State. If we could observe a moment for Francesco Legalupi and Dr. Earl Richardson. Thank you. Tonight's district spotlight comes from Councilmember Blanchard of the 11th District. Council member, the floor is yours.
One more time.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Do we have the president pull up?
Sure
It
do.
should be red. Oh, wait. It should be red. Hold on.
Okay.
So while we're getting that set up, so colleagues, so my focus for the district spotlight is on 11 festivals in the 11th district. So kind of perfect timing considering how huge of a festival weekend we just got through. Can't say we planned it that way, but figured I'd give us a brief tour of the 11th district through some of the best festivals in the district. Believe it or not, it actually was kind of tough. We had to cull it down a little bit just to get to 11. So we left out a couple citywide ones or some great church ones or things that weren't necessarily like neighborhood specific. So let's get it going. All right, yeah, I covered that.
Oh, there it is.
All right, so zooming in, starting northwest, we'll work northwest to southeast. So first off, in Upton, we have the Billie Holiday Festival. Takes place at the Robert C. Marshall Field. Celebrates, obviously, the music icon of Baltimore, Billie Holiday. It's been going on for a while. It takes place as well, just started this year, taking place with the Rec Center's Back to School Backpack Giveaway. Was a huge success this year. Great music venue opportunities, and also a lot of good back to school things going on for the kids. Was really well attended, and I appreciate all of my colleagues who were able to make it out for this one. This was 2 Saturdays ago. Moving on, next up, I believe we have Bolton Hills Festival on the Hill. So this one has been going on, I think, since like 1931. This is, I think, the longest running festival that I was aware of in the district. Neighborhood run. Been going on for a long time, run by the Neighborhood Association, celebrates a lot of different things going on in festival in Bolton Hill, particularly their garden club gets a great shout out here. Some good music and food as well. Takes place, I think, the first Saturday in October, so that one's coming up. Rolling over, we have one that we probably know pretty well, Mount Vernon's Flower Mart. So this one's, one thing that's really cool about Flower Mart is it is actually has a theme where almost all of the vendors that you're gonna see around the Washington Monument are all like flower themed stuff. And so that's this is a great, it's a 2.5-day event, a lot of great art. Obviously the floral game is very strong. Great opportunity to get some flowers for your loved ones at this one. Moving on. So in downtown, we have one of the newer festivals, so the Charles Street Promenade. So this one started during COVID to give our businesses on Charles Street an opportunity to showcase their wares. During the pandemic, this was something that was originally pushed by the Charles Street Development Corporation. It is a really, really cool opportunity to shout out, I think, a historic but very slept on set of businesses from the 300 block of North Charles up to roughly around the North Avenue, Charles Street intersection. So this is something that's been growing really fast since it started, and hopefully we'll be able to in the next year or two move it from its one Saturday a year to hopefully a recurring thing over the summer. So something I've been pushing slightly for, and we'll continue to do so on that one. So next up. All right, so something we have twice a year. On the west side of downtown, we have the Bromo Art Walk. So you probably know the Bromo Arts Tower, the Bromo Seltzer Tower. So this highlights all of the different artists, art venues, live performances, theaters, etc., that we have on the west side of downtown. Obviously, it is an area that is thoroughly challenged with, as we saw with the Superblock fires 2 weeks ago, with blight and disinvestment in our building stock, but an incredible and robust array of art and just vibrancy percolating underneath the surface. This is for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to go to this one, considering that we spend a good amount of our time 4 or 5 blocks away. It's a pretty cool one to go to. They have it, and I think it's May, and then we just had the September one last week. All right, so for the Inner Harbor, we have Christmas Village, which most of us are probably familiar with. So that's the German village. We have the little German, I don't know, huts, whatever you call them, that they put up on the west side of the harbor. Great place to go get your Christmas presents. Just south of the ice skating rink, and something that started up 2 or 3 years ago for most of May into the beginning of June is the Wine Village, where basically they said, hey, we already have these little building things, and we should do this more than once a year. And so they just started selling wine during it, and it is awesome and totally worth going to when the weather's nice in May. All right, so rolling down into Otterbein, we have Smoketoberfest, which I think is pretty recent as well. Is that correct, Nancy? So this was, the way it was described to me was like a couple of neighbors had like a hey, I can grill better than you can grill thing that morphed into a cook-off and then became actually a really well-attended, really high-quality set of grill masters getting after it. Great opportunity to taste a lot of great meats, really good stuff, and a very great way to experience the Otterbein neighborhood. And that's coming up. I think it's our beginning of October as well, first, second Saturday of October. All right, so next up in Sharp-Lenten Hall, giving a shout out to Historic Sharp-Lenten Hall's festival they've been putting on every year for the last couple years. This goes on in Solo Gibbs Park, so it's both your kind of classic community block party style event with your moon bounces and your music and your vendors and whatnot. Also pays homage to the heritage of Sharp-Lenten Hall, one of the city's original historic black neighborhoods. And this is something that, it's an event that kind of started in earnest a couple years ago and really focuses it on the history of the neighborhood as well, on top of just your community, standard community events. All right, so Federal Hill doesn't really have a festival, but it does have the 4th of July parade. So that is put on by the 800 block, the neighbors on the 800 block of William Street. Been doing this every year for the last 32 years. So it starts at 10:30 a.m. on the morning of 4th of July. Someone sings the national anthem. Everyone does a parade over to Federal Hill Park, which is a couple blocks away, then comes back for some fun and games and ice cream and all that stuff on William Street, complete with a Revolutionary War marching band, which, like wool suits, wool socks and all, always looks kind of miserable from my perspective, it being 4th of July. Yeah, no, it's legit, but they push through it, and so I have to too. And so, yeah, great event put on every year by the neighbors over there. All right, down in Riverside, they have the Second Sunday concerts, which just wrapped up. So I think it's 4 concerts, 4 or 5. I think it starts in May. The last one is in September. So the gazebo over in Riverside Park, they host a band. It's just a ton of families showing up and picnicking while the band plays. And it's packed, and there's like a couple hundred people there every single time. Really just a lovely way to spend a summer Sunday afternoon. So they just wrapped it up yesterday. And then lastly, also one that just took place, the Locust Point Festival, probably the most, I would say the most attended neighborhood festival in the district. It's packed, ton of vendors. Some of it's Locust Point themed, some of it's citywide stuff, but something that's been going on, I think, for the last 15 years or so. Organizer does an absolutely great job there. A lot of residents, a lot of former residents, and it's also a great opportunity to go check this out and then roll down to Fort McHenry for the Defenders Day fireworks that Saturday. So it merges into the other one. Very cool 1-2 punch for that second Saturday in September. So those are our festivals. Yeah, this is I think just a testament to like what makes neighborhoods neighborhoods and what makes people want to stay in Baltimore, and when people feel proud about the place they live and they feel like they belong in a place, this stuff is a real part of it. So as an enthusiast for this type of thing who goes to a lot of these both in my district and around the city, I want to give a shout out to those. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Blanchard, for loving on festivals. Colleagues, we are in a moment of political turmoil. Our national politics feels divisive, nasty, and bitter, and it seeps down to the state and local levels. Yet, in spite of the chaos coming from DC, our city is more than holding it together. Baltimore is winning. This city council is winning. All this weekend when I was at festivals and events, people kept coming up to tell me how proud they were of the work we've been doing on oversight, safety, health, housing, education, fiscal stewardship, and more. Even while it feels like our democracy is cratering. But what folks don't see is that right now, our jobs are extremely stressful. Political violence is real. The tensions feel thick. The media climate is tough. Social media can be cruel. And to be vulnerable for a moment, there have been times recently where I've felt scared for my safety, my family's safety, and the safety of our mayor and members of this council. I doubt there is anyone on this council that hasn't received a threatening message. Last week felt tense. In this moment of deep division and discord, we need to be kind to each other. We need to respect each other, the public, the administration, folks who come before us seeking to join our government, and we should expect the same respect in kind. There were moments last week where I didn't like the way I led. This is a journey. We're all growing, and how we show up for each other matters. We're headed toward 1 year together as a council. It's a good time for reflection. This body has done some great work, and we can expect much more to come. In the weeks ahead, I'll be meeting with each of you to look at our mission, our committees, our structure, and how we can continue to get better for those we serve. Let me end on a high note. I am incredibly proud of how this council showed up today at the MDOT CTP Roadshow. Good organizing, Dorsey, Ethan, and everybody. We came out in force, and we stayed on message. It makes an enormous difference when our body is united. I appreciate you all for that. The next regular meeting of the Baltimore City Council will be held on Monday, September 29th at 5 p.m. There being no further business, this concludes the 14th regular meeting of the 74th term of the Baltimore City Council.